Hi guys, I hope you're well. Matt Rhodes here, and I'm back with another Russian adventure, and this is my most crazy one yet. I headed off to Moscow to see former Britain's strongest man, world's strongest man competitor, IFSA competitor, UFC and Bellator fighter, Ollie Thompson, who headed to Moscow, Russia to fight Vyacheslav Datsik, otherwise known as the Madman or the Red Tarzan. This turned out to be a real adventure with a lot of faces I wasn't expecting to see, a real eclectic mix of different people who came together to make this a super interesting event, and I've documented it all for you guys to enjoy. Now, you will hardly believe the story of Datsik. He's had fights and wins against fighters such as Andrei Arlovsky, Antonio Silva, Alexander Emelianenko. Now, Datsik has got his reputation not just from his fighting, but what's gone on in his personal life too. He gained notoriety for his criminal behaviour and vigilante raids on brothels, as well as his white supremacist and neo-Nazi beliefs. He was a regular on the MMA scene up until 2007, where he seemingly disappeared off the radar, and there was a lot of rumours that he had died in a train wreck. However, these rumours were squashed when he was found alive and well after being detained for his part in an armed robbery on various mobile phone shops in St. Petersburg. It's reported that he had obsessive anti-Semitic and anti-Christian views while exalting Slavic paganism. The official expert analysis on his mental sanity asserted that he claimed Jesus Christ was a Mossad agent, whereas Datsik believing himself to be the Red Tarzan and the son of a Slavic god Perun. It was concluded that he had schizophrenia and he avoided criminal charges. He was first locked in a high-security mental institution for therapy, but he was then transferred to a low-security psychiatric clinic in July 2010. However, later in 2010, he escaped by tearing a hole in the wire fence around the low-security clinic, apparently using just his bare hands to do this. He then illegally crossed the border into Norway in a boat and met with Norwegian reporters. Whilst wearing Nazi symbols, he told reporters that he was not a nationalist but a racist. Joined by two neo-Nazis from an ex-Soviet Baltic state living in Norway, he appeared at the International Police Immigration Service in Oslo, where he handed in a loaded weapon, declared himself a white warrior, and requested political asylum. As a result, the police searched the tattoo shop where the men that were found with him came from, and they found 5 illegal handguns and an entrance card stolen from the Norwegian Armed Forces, as well as Nazi paraphernalia, including a large doll dressed up as a Nazi, were found near the front entrance to the shop. Residents near the tattoo shop claimed they often heard loud noises, screaming and banging. The neighbours also stated they would occasionally see the occupants of the tattoo shop practicing fighting and boxing while completely naked. Datsik claimed that he had been tortured by the Russian authorities, including electrodes to his genitals and placing him in an iron cage for 8 months, naked and handcuffed. In March 2011, Russia's application was finally granted and Datsik was deported back to Russia from Norway. Rumours surfaced later that year that Datsik had been killed in a prison fight. However, once again, these rumours were found not to be true, and he was alive and healthy whilst in prison in Russia. In 2016, Datsik was finally released from custody. He had been in prison for 9 years, apart from a 1-month stint of freedom following his escape. Since that time, in the last 7 years, he's been a very active mixed martial artist and boxer, with a reputation for taking on anyone, anywhere, anytime. And all that backstory has led us to where we are today, right now, and where this story begins. Ollie Thompson, former Britain's strongest man, UFC and Bellator veteran, travels to Moscow, Russia to take on the Red Tarzan Datsik. So let's see how this story unfolded as I joined Ollie in camp in the final week before the fight. on the way to the presser now, Ollie. What's your thoughts about pressers? Are you trying to pick your opponent off of that, or you try to make sure they don't pick you off, or you just see how it goes on the day?
I guess you've got to stay ready, especially with these live wires, like we got here, Datsik. We bumped into each other yesterday in the lift, just a little awkward fist bump. But today is where I guess the performance starts. So we'll see what energy he's bringing and how he's trying to approach me.
Someone like him is really unpredictable. Like we could say crazy. I think it's fair to say. Does that ever worry you? And it can kick off properly before a fight, or
no?
See that's part of it.
No, I've got Shane, my bodyguard here. He's going to handle all that sort of stuff. He can handle 6 or 7 of them. Fine, Shane.
Yeah, easy guys. Yeah, more the better.
And you going in with a plan today to get in his head, or are you just going to see how it goes?
I don't think I really need to. I think he's always going to be pumped up. He's quite emotional. He performs. I haven't got to perform too much, you know. He kind of does the work for you, and I'll just be reactive off him. Expect a big roar, a bit of a bear roar in my face, and it'll be fun. He does, like I say, if you've got a sort of a boring character as your opponent, you got a lot of the work to do, responsibility to try and make it interesting. But I think with Datsik, he's ticked the boxes for you. You know, you just got to turn up and give a little bit back when he performs. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what energy he brings. We've had quite a bit back and forth on the internet and a bit of talking here and there. Nothing too personal. Nothing really. Just my intentions, his intentions. And he says he's going to bite chunks out of my leg if I knock him out, which will be interesting. I'll knock him out again if I have to. But it's going to be a fun press conference. Definitely better than some of the ones we've done before.
We're about 4 days out from the fight. Are there any kind of nerves at all at this time, or is just this kind of excitement?
It's excitement. Sometimes, especially for boxing, I just find boxing to be less stressful than MMA. MMA, there's so many things to it, so many possibilities of what your opponent can want to do to you. That it's a lot to think about. It can really fill your brain up with lots of different thoughts. But with boxing and with Datsik, it's a very specific set of things he can and will do, and you know what that is. So, and also he's quite a hard guy to miss. You know, I'm going to be landing shots on him. There's no doubt about that. So I think it's just a fun fight.
Cross into my territory, we all know what happens, the young versus the alpha.
He had a fight could play out in my favour and I was very relaxed. But Alexi's a great champion and a great warrior, so take nothing away from him, it's a great victory for me. And this is the beauty of sports, this is the beauty of combat sports, is when someone does something that no one thinks they can do, it really shows you why this sport is so exciting, because you tune in because you believe that something could happen that's unexpected. And I look at the fight, and sometimes you see a fight that you can sort of see, like how does he beat me though? Like I couldn't.
Like he have to be down. You have to be down.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you grapple much. But
Yeah, well, I haven't been submitted any of my fights. I'm quite hard to submit. Everyone gets submitted in training. You know, I've been submitted in training 100 times. But I'm not easy to take down. No, he generally will fall down unless you get caught on one instead. And I rehearse that stuff. You know? I have guys that do that. I've been in the game, not dominantly, but I've been in the game a while. And I had a few losses last year. Couldn't find my form. I had did my ACL operation. No, when I came back from that, you've done your ACL.
man,
Done most things for you.
I've had millions of times, but my knees have been the one thing that I haven't.
Oh really? Well, I wasn't until then. And the ACL coming back from it is horrible. And it's like a year, and then you start recovering after a year. And it's slow. I couldn't find form. I couldn't find the win. You know in this game, when you're winning, winning's easy. When you're not winning, winning's like
you gotta fight. You gotta like okay.
Winning's easy when you're winning, and losing's easy when you're losing. I couldn't find that win. I needed that win. Just breaking that ice. It's been just changed my mindset.
Нельзя. Идет засечка времени.
Ой, это было справа!
And I did a fight with Fedor like long time.
Yeah, I know, I saw it.
And then I started doing some fights, and I actually fought Alexei. And
Oh, did you?
yeah,
When was that? Where did you fight him?
here.
Long time ago.
And then I won some fights, and then started doing master classes, and I was on Dancing with Stars here. And just, like it just snowballed. It was just right place, right time. And he's like, how do you fucking function? And your heart's like, oh, so they did. Yeah, they had 3 heart surgeries. Wow. Did it. Now I'm like, man, I feel like normal. But I felt always like anxious. You know, not anxious.
Well, I guess once you know you got a heart issue, any feeling you get, you can be like, is that?
Yeah.
It's good.
100% bro.
It's not a nice
Best
feeling.
dentists in the world did this.
Very hard.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Fresh food, but
Yes, of course you can.
For the,
Nice meeting you.
start making a gap in your mouth. You think wars have been fighting with many conferences has been talked about over a game of chess. So a game of chess is just not about crazy.
Yeah. What?
Вас, даст буду хранительницу вашу, не только в настоящем, но и в будущем веце. Все даю вам знамение, донде же зрите в монастыре икону мою, не оскудеть вам благодать Сына моего.
I'm not nervous at all. I'll get a nervous spot in the change room maybe like an hour before where it all dawns on me, oh, it's really happening. And then my brain will say like, well, I wonder if I could just go home and no one would mind. And then 5 minutes later you realise, no, actually that's not how this works. You gotta go through with it. And then your brain does something very clever, and you automatic 5 minutes later you become a guy who will fight anyone anywhere, and you just want to get it done. And yeah, I'm pretty relaxed. I was really relaxed last time against Alexei. I felt really good. I felt confident, and it showed in the performance and the result. And
Datsik's a guy you've been going after for a fair while. You went with this fight, yeah?
yeah, obviously, as you know, I called him out quite a long time ago, but I didn't really have the presence in Russia at the time to really get a response. But funny enough, I didn't call him out for this fight. He actually, after I beat Alexei, he actually mentioned me in one of his videos. To avenge his friend. It's interesting he wants to avenge Alexei because Alexei was calling him out about a month before I fought Alexei. So it must be a new friendship. But it's all business, it's all a fight game. And he's a good character. He's different to the norm, and he brings a different style to what you usually see. But he's also someone that I should be beating, and that's what I plan to do. And then just keep this Russian adventure going as long as possible because we're having a good time, and it's definitely a good time in my career to have these opportunities.
Идет.
Yeah, I know. Fuck it. Yeah, I see the whole fight after. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. He sent me. He say press conference before they were sparring. I don't know.
И налево.
Спасибо.
It's clean water in your eyes, mate. Yeah, fucking drinking water. I'm sure if these guys like that shit or not. I don't know. I reckon he'll come alive. I'm going to make sure I'm jumping. He doesn't do anything. I'm going to be super quiet.
И нас ждет традиционная дуэль взглядов. Face to face. Почему написано Арзамас 100? Кто тебе давал информацию? Саров! Олег Макаров показывает 105, 350. Участники самого главного события завтрашнего вечера. Легендарные бойцы сойдутся в бескомпромиссном поединке. Ollie! Thompson! Рыжий Тарзан! Вячеслав! Datsik! Вес Вячеслава 118 800. To face, stand down! Ваша поддержка, Москва! Итак, вот они, Ollie, спартанец Thompson, против Вячеслава, рыжего Тарзана, Datsika!
He did his raw. I had to do something back. It's all fun and games. I just wanted to touch that red beard, but it's hot and it's soft. And on the night, I'm going to squish my knuckle really deep into it. But today, it's just a tester. This goes all around.
He's playing piano. So it's fight day, Ollie. What's your feeling today? What's the kind of routine for fight day?
Obviously not too much action, a lot of rest. Try not to think about the fight, just keep the fight in the back of my mind for later on, keep the energy. It gets to the point where you just want to get on with it, you just want to do it. And I'd rather just fight, I'd rather Datsik was here now, we can just get on with it, you know, get it done. Because we've been waiting a long time, a lot of training, and even fight week's it's a long old week. I had a nice time, loved Moscow, the people, the place, amazing. And a bit of sightseeing today, the big government building, and Gorky Park. Yes, Gorky Park, sorry, don't want to pronounce it wrong. It's great, but it's not what I came here for, you know, I'm here to do a job. And it's like, it's a brutal game. The success or failure of the trip is all based on a very small chain of events within 10, 11 minutes, you know, a maximum. So it's a very harsh game in that way, you know, as opposed to some other sports where it's what happens over the space of a long time, you know, football 90 minutes, strongman competition in a whole day or a whole week. This is decided by momentary decisions and reactions, and it's a hard game, and we're all aware of that, especially the heavyweight division, you know. So there's always a certain amount of pressure with it, and on fight day, you know, I'm excited because one way or another, in I don't know, in 12 hours, it'll all be done. It'll all be done, and we just don't want to have any regrets. And the regret isn't always necessarily in the result, just the result. The regret's what you put in there, what you leave in there. If you leave your heart and soul in there, and the result isn't what you wanted it to be, the regret is something you can manage over time. But if you go in there and don't do what you're capable of doing, then it's something you've got to live for the rest of your life. I'm regretful for every loss I've got, and I know how it feels. So the fear is not the pain of physical getting punched up in the ring. The fear is the dealing with the feelings afterwards, you know. So it's my job to make sure that I don't have to deal with that.
At this point, we're kind of 6-7 hours from heading to the arena. Are you thinking about the fight itself yet, or is it the opposite? You're just trying to think about other things?
I'm trying not to, and I've got some good company. We're having a good conversation about some of the architecture and the landscape in Russia. It's nice and it's interesting, and it's nothing to do with the fight. As soon as I drift off for a moment, I'm moving my shoulders in a certain way. I'm thinking about certain shots that I want to use to put my knuckle through Datsik's face later on today. But as much as possible, I'm not going to think about it until 10:30, 11 o'clock.
And once you get to the arena, are any nerves kick in? Do you like to have some nerves, or?
I mean, I don't like nerves, but I do require them. You know, if you haven't got the nerves, then you're not going to switch on in the way you need to. And this is 3-minute rounds. This is short. If it goes that distance, it's a short, explosive fight, and you haven't got time to grow into the fight. You have to go into the fight. The nerves are going to switch you on. The nerves are going to make your body produce some chemicals that we produce when we're going to go to war, you know, when we're going to be in a battlefield. So I do need them, and I've got enough experience now that I know how to control them and manipulate them.
Are you the only fighter in history to have fought in UFC, Bellator, two biggest promotions MMA, as well as World's Strongest Man?
Yeah, there's not another fighter in history. There's no other legitimate MMA fighter in history who's competed with World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Do you feel like that strength background at that level, the highest level, has helped in your career or hindered? Because some people say that being so strong like that, you rely on strength more than skill and strategy, or for you it helped?
Yeah, I think for me it's helped a lot. I think it can hinder you. It's something we discussed earlier in the week, a length a little bit actually. We spoke about strongman. People underrate how athletic some strongmen are, but not all of them.
No.
Some of them are just they're all great in their own way. They're all amazing in what they do, but some of them are just strong guys, very strong guys. But there's a few guys who you can tell are a bit different. They might not even be the strongest of the strong, but they can do different things. And I always did different things through my life before strongman. And I don't feel like sometimes strongmen get the recognition for how athletic they can be. And this has been this career of mine, the second career of mine, has been a great opportunity for me to showcase some of it, even at an older age.
Did you have more or less nerves competing at something like World's Strongest Man, or before you go into a fight?
I didn't feel any nerves in strongman. I didn't feel any nerves. And you know, at something, I think subconsciously I was like almost chasing it a little bit. Like a few times in Russia and Ukraine in strongman, we did the wrestling, and it was a thrill. It's not a great strongman event in all honesty, because it's a bit random.
Yeah.
But I always said, yeah, I want to do it because there's a certain thrill to it about two men going at it with physical contact, and it's very addictive. And it's a rush that I still chase now to this day. But when I haven't got a fight, I want to get a fight booked in.
Yeah. And probably in your head, you're tuned for MMA. But this is just boxing. Does that affect you at all? Because obviously in MMA, you're thinking about a possibility of takedowns, things like that. You don't have that option in the boxing. Is it easy for you to switch between two different disciplines?
I mean, it has been before. I've had 2 boxing fights pro, both first round knockouts. And I love it. It's almost just simplifying things. The skill level is still really high in boxing, professional boxing, but there's less to think about. It's like when a really good, like a strongman, a really good strongman does a powerlifting competition, prepares for that for 8 weeks. It's still very hard training, but there's so much less to do. So you can really concentrate on being good at what you are doing, you know. So I can just concentrate on my hands. I can just run every day and box every day. And I've run every day and boxed every day for the whole camp of this whole camp, or ridden my bike every day. And I'm a big boxing fan. I was a big boxing fan before I was an MMA fan, and I wanted to be a boxer before I ever wanted to be an MMA fighter. Just opportunity took me where it took me, and being a big, strong, fast guy, the athleticism helps you in the wrestling terms quite a lot. Whilst boxing is more of a science and an art form, so it takes time to get good at boxing. Whilst you can be a good wrestler quite quick, you can be a reasonable wrestler, reasonably good, quite fast, just being off athletic traits. Whilst boxing is a lot of thinking, a lot of understanding involved. It's like you can't get good at it really fast. A good boxer will beat a new boxer 99% of the time. And it took me time to get used to it, but I believe I'm a competent boxer these days, and it's really exciting. I get to show it rather than just tell everyone I am, because it's all well and good saying, isn't it?
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck tonight. I think prep's gone well, and I have no doubt that you're going to be able to win this tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't wait for it. I really appreciate all the people that have helped me from back home, to Matt Rhodes in Russia, to Gore MMA, Gore, Max, Shane Kim, my corner man, everybody. There's a lot of people I can shout out, but I'm talking about the people this week who've been really helpful to me, and helping me with my travel, my food, good company, conversation, and the rest of it. So it's been a really good trip so far. I couldn't have done anything better than I have, and just wanting to put the icing on the cake tonight.
Okay, we'll see you there.
Pleasure.
Oleg Tektarov making his comeback after some 8 years after his last fight against Jeff Monson. Of course, both these guys, legends of MMA, so it was very unusual for both of them to have a boxing match. It was only 3 rounds of 2 minutes. However, as you can see, it quickly descended into something more resembling an MMA match, where they both went to the ground, trying to get each other into leg locks. And when the final bell sounded, things got pretty chaotic, to say the least. So then it was time for the main event we had all been waiting for, a boxing match between Ollie Thompson and Datsik. Both guys made grand entrances to the ring and the fight quickly got underway. But unfortunately, as you see here, just 20 seconds into the first round, not unusually for Datsik, there was a huge clash of heads, called of a headbutt, and Ollie got a big cut right on his forehead, just above the eye, and he got fairly concussed from it. Now, unfortunately, as you see, he looks to the referee, because of course usually the fight would be stopped and the doctor would take a look and the referee would check for concussion with the fighter, but the referee inexplicably just waved carry on. So Ollie's stuck in there. However, with around 30 seconds left to go in the round, Datsik mauling him with punches, Ollie was backed off onto the ropes and the referee called the fight off. He didn't even give a standing 8 count, so it was a bad night for the referee. However, immediately Datsik said he wanted an MMA rematch against Ollie, which of course Ollie agreed to. So now we hope that will be the next fight for Ollie, a rematch between him and Datsik where this can be settled properly. So it was a disappointing end to what otherwise was a very, very interesting week and an interesting build-up. And if there's a rematch, which hopefully there will be, I'll be there to cover it for you guys. So thanks for watching. Give the video a like, drop a comment below, and I'll be back with another video soon.